Okay, so I promised I'd try and help out and do a little screenshot video. The audio may kick in late, so sorry if you missed some of this, but because it was a little different. The first thing I would have them do is to actually build out their website, put it in a folder, like I have this one mobile site here, and that way they can test it in the browser. Because remember, jQuery mobile, it's not going to look right in the Dreamweaver preview window. It can't handle it, even though it says it can. It can't. So you're going to have to test out in a browser, not Internet Explorer, but you're on the Mac, so that won't be a problem. The other thing is, I'm going to show you, this is a real simple one, just a hello world. You wouldn't even need jQuery mobile on this one, but I've included it because there's some stuff, the little quirks that I want you to see with Xcode. Okay, so you build your site, then you come into Xcode. Xcode's a free program in iTunes. There's a lot of stuff going on here that I will talk about and show you in just a little bit. So we go File, New, Project. They have got different applications you can use, all sorts of other things that they want to learn later on. You can do page, tabbed, but the tabbed and the page base you can add later on. What I usually start with a single view application, and that's what you have to do if you're going to do WebView. So single view application, you're going to name it. I'm going to call this one UI WebView app, because that's what I'm trying to show you how you do the UI WebView. They would name it whatever. They've got your company identifier right here that gets added in, and all that's good to go. Okay, they'll ask you where you want to save it. You can do documents. I'm just going to do desktop, so it'll be near my mobile site. And then there we go. Okay, it'll take it a second. Honestly, yours will probably be faster than mine. There's a lot of stuff going on in Xcode, but the big things you want to know is this general tab. If you click on the top buttons here, you can change like what version of iOS that you are targeting to older versions if you want to, and then it'll do 6.0, 7.0. Most people have upgraded to 7.0, some haven't, so you might want to target back with iOS 8. You never know, and just kind of let them know, keep up with that. You can decide is it just iPhone, iPad, or both. Which one is it going to be upside down, whatever. iPad, they have to be able to rotate in all directions. iPad apps have to rotate in all directions, or they'll do it. You also have this images folder that they create for your icons, and let me see if I can show you. Here we go. If you click on it, and then you click on this little arrow looking thing, it'll show you what size that it should be. And then 2 times means times 2. So you would go into Photoshop and do one that's 152 by 152, and that would be your iPad icon. And I'll show you kind of how I save them. I've changed it a little bit from the other one I have open, but you'll see the idea. And then we'll talk about where to put everything. Okay, so here's what happens. You go into your folder. You've created your site. I'm going to copy, and then I'm going to go to my UI WebView app and the UI WebView app folder, not the test one, but the folder. And I'm going to paste all those files in there. Okay? So you start there. Then you come in here. Oops, not there. This one. In the yellow folder, you're going to right-click, and you're going to add files to UI WebView app. It's automatically going to pull it up, and here's the other nice thing. It's going to show you the ones that haven't been added. Don't worry about the ones I didn't check because they're fine. But you can see that these need to be added. Couple things. You want to create folder references, not create folder groups. Okay, there's a situation where you want to groups, but not for this stuff. So just folder references, and then you're going to add. Okay. It should automatically do something called add source control, which means this A appears. If not, you can see the A, hopefully. If not, if there's a question mark, you have to right-click, and then you can add source control. Okay, right here. So that's it. But it's already good to go. Now, here's the reason that I went ahead to the jQuery mobile. If you go back to the top folder and do build phases, sorry. There's a compile section and a copy section. It thinks that JavaScript files are a program, and so it puts them in the compile, but you need it in the copy. So you have to go into your JavaScript files, .js files, and move them to copy. Otherwise, your stuff won't run, your app will look messed up. spent a whole 2 days figuring that out. So when they add JavaScript files, it's going to go into compile. Got to add them to copy. That may be a fun exploration activity one day, because I'd love for them to have the frustration that I had figuring that out, because their programs won't look right and everything will be wrong. So that might be something fun for them to figure out, that those files are in the wrong place. You may have to give them some direction, but just an idea. So you got that. So now we got our files. Okay, a couple things. You have these view controllers. There's a header and an .m. This model view controller thing. If you want to look that up and teach them, you can. But you don't necessarily need to. The other nice thing about this is you've got storyboards with iOS. With iOS, you can do a storyboard, and basically it makes it a little bit of a drag and drop. Unfortunately, my computer moves kind of slow, so it's going to take it a second. And you have these view controllers. You can move them down and click them up, and you can see what it looks like for the older phones, the newer phones. I'm sure with the new stuff, iOS 6 coming out, there's going to be a whole bunch of new stuff. Now, you're going to go over here on source control. Down here, there's all these objects. You want the web view, and you're going to drag it on, and it's going to add it, and make sure that it fits right inside. If it's bigger than the window, then your pages won't scroll. You can also, over here, you can adjust some things, like scale pages to fit. If you do that, that allows for pinch to zoom, if you want that feature. Then there's other things that are there that you can check out. Most of this you can just leave alone, and you'll be fine, okay? Especially like there's some stuff with a ruler here where you can change some things when it rotates. Let me show you this too. On this show file inspector, if you unclick use auto layout, you can go back to the ruler, and you can see how you can change it based on when it rotates. Like, do you want your stretch stay the same? What do you want it to do? With web views, though, I'd leave it alone, because jQuery Mobile takes care of that. I know this is a lot, but I'm just going to throw it out there. Pause, rewind, email me if you need to, whatever. Now, we're going to go back to this yellow folder, UI WebView app. We're going to right-click, add. We already added files. We're not going to do that. My bad. We are going to go up here to this little tuxedo-looking thing. It's not tuxedo. It's actually, what it does is it splits the screen. Okay? It's going to give us, because if I click here, it's going to give us the right file, because you'll see that it names it class view controller, which matches up with this file over here. So it pulls up the file. You want to make sure that you're in the .h file first. Okay? You're going to hold down control and click, keep holding, and it's going to drag right over here, and you let go, and it's going to pull this up. You leave it alone. I'm going to leave it here for a second so you can see the settings, but they're automatic. You can name it what you want to. I always go with custom web view. There's this reverse capitalization thing, because you have to keep everything in one word, so all the second and third words get capitalized. There's an official term for it. Deanna, you probably know it. I don't. I don't remember it. So you connect, and it adds this for you. Okay? So you're done with that. You can go back to normal. Now they're connected. Now the file knows there's a web view there. Then you go to the .m. Under at implementation view controller, you have to synthesize that little variable you created. So you synthesize, start typing custom web view, make sure you end it with a semicolon. Okay? And what's nice, if you notice, it starts to pull these things up for you. Okay? Now, the next thing I'm going to do, this is the last thing, I'm going to take this stuff, these 5 lines of code, I'm going to copy them, and under super view did load, I'm going to paste them. You can either Google how to add local HTML files to Xcode, and this code will be there on several sites, or you can look at the source projects I gave you. This is what I do. I searched the first time, copied it, figured out what to change. You'll notice this custom web view, that's your variable name, so that can change. The other thing is right here, path for resource. You do the file name, so in this case mine is index, and then the file type, HTML. You can also embed PDFs this way too. So that's what you do, and then it's there. Make sure you match the names up, and again, this is the first file you want to pull in, and then from everywhere else it'll link. Okay, now here's the other fun thing. You can go up here and check devices. I'm going to go with 3.5 inch just because hopefully it'll load faster. You hit play, which means run. It's going to take it a second, especially the first time, and it'll build. Now, Xcode is free. You can test apps for free in the simulators. Okay. You don't really need the licenses for publishing apps to the App Store or testing on devices. And I was telling Coach Simpson that you can add up to 100 devices a year on your developer account. So each student could be able to test their apps on their phone if you wanted them to, and then you would just delete those devices, and I'll show you kind of where it all happens. The simulator pops up. It takes it a second. Your Macs will probably run faster than mine because mine's a little old. But it'll pop up, and eventually, if we did this right, our files will load up. Okay, while I'm waiting on that, I'm going to show you something else. Up here, you'll see that in this file folder, this is where I put my icons, okay? And just to show you on my desktop, hold on, documents, name, let me see if I can find one. I saw Poteet, hopefully this is that should be the app, yeah. You'll notice in this main folder, usually that's where I put my icons. Somehow my artwork's gone. I don't know where it is. But yeah, this main first folder, this is where you'll put your icons, and you will add them here, okay, outside of this yellow folder, all right, and then you can do it. Okay, our app loaded. You can see it's Hello World. It's there. Now normally, like any buttons you'd have, links, all that stuff would work, and no one knows that you used HTML. It looks like a native app, works like one, works very well in iOS, starting to work better in Android. And you can go from there. The reason I was going to go this route, it's easier to teach the kids the code. They can do more. Pretty much with HTML5 jQuery Mobile, you can do anything you want to do, just about. And so that's that. Make sure that they know everything needs to be something called client side. It means it's got to happen within the phone. It can't be on a server. There are ways to connect to servers, but that costs money. And it's a whole lot of new learning that you may not want to mess with in a semester. Okay, so that's it. Add the files, drag the web view in, connect it, and then this code, make sure you get your file names right, and then you can test and run on anything, okay? Once you get done, let me show you something else fun. You can change this to open as source code, and what you can do is copy all this stuff, okay? Paste it onto the iPad storyboard, all right? And you're gonna, after you open it as source code as well, and all you have to do is delete Retina 4 down here at the bottom, and then you can do an edit, find, and replace. You place all the 320s with 768s, the 568s with 1024s. And what it does is it automatically restretches everything to where it fits on the iPad too. And normally, this is big, if you have a lot of stuff like the Poteet app's very detailed, you would have to go do every single thing for the iPad too and drag it out and all that kind of stuff. That could look nicer, but obviously that's a lot of time. Okay, let's show you one more thing. I know this video has been long, but hopefully it's enough resources that you can pause, rewatch, do what you need to do. This is the Developer Center. It's developer.apple.com. This is where you get your license, keep it renewed, all this kind of stuff. There's different sections. There's tutorials on here about how to upload apps to the store. They're actually good. Everything else is kind of confusing. But you'll see you can add devices. You can add, if you're going to test on a device, you have to have an identifier and a provisioning profile. You'll download those. It walks you through it. Just make sure that the names are always the same, okay? And that's pretty much everything.